This is my object, pack of cards that my dad played with when he couldn't sleep, night after night, for many years. I'm an artist. I made a piece of live art called Patience, which invites people to sit with me and tell me about fathers that they love. I love the smell of these, and I love remembering my time with my dad. All good.
My object is this wonderful crocodile made from bronze. It's about 5.5 feet long, weighs a huge amount, takes 3 grown men to carry it, and it was a 40th birthday present from the village. And now everyone dreads helping me move, which I seem to do quite frequently. She's a bit of a large ball and chain sometimes, but not one I'm going to part with.
This is a christening plate and cup made for me on my birthday on the 16th of July 1951. It was made by my dad's friend, a potter called Zaalberg. It's always been part of my life, usually on display in the lounge, and I can't really imagine my surroundings without this.
I'm holding a soup ladle, which you probably can tell. Had it all my life, or at least that's not true, not personally, it was in our family, and I think it was given to my mother as a wedding present, and I'm now 83, so obviously it is quite old. We used it, and then when my mother died, and my father had already died, it was just there. I mean, I couldn't say that it was specifically left for me to take care of, but I'm the one that cleaned it now and again, and I suppose I do regard it as being mine, and we do use it, not all the time, but periodically we use it. And there it is. So I don't know anything about its origins as regards being a spoon or what have you. It is silver, presumably. It originates from Holland, I don't know. Has a silver mark on it. There it is, and I think it's nice. I think it was part of a set, although I don't recall much of a set. I do recall a gravy spoon, which was about half the size, I should think, of this one, same shape, etc., and which my nephew had his eyes on from an early age. He always said, that's going to be my gravy spoon, and he's ended up with it as well. But he's welcome, because he appreciates it. And that's all I can tell you about it, really. I think it's rather nice. You have to clean it, which I'm not very good at, but it does pay for cleaning, as you can see.
This is a silver brooch made in Mexico. That's what the back looks like. It was given to me by my Uncle Ton, who lives in America with my Aunt Vaughan and all of their family. Now, our family is scattered across the globe, many of us in Holland, in England and in the States. So I like to wear this brooch to family gatherings where I'm representing the members of the family who aren't able to be there.
This little chair has been in and out of the whole of my life, but I realise that I haven't seen it all that much. But it was made for me when I was very small, maybe 2.5 years old, by a Zulu worker in the farm where we lived in South Africa, or just outside Johannesburg. And it's been obscured quite a lot because it's been in lofts and places like that. And I just realised that it's a very beautiful object, amazingly made, and is still here and hasn't started to rot because it is just wood. And I don't know what I can say about it exactly, except that it's an object of intrigue in a way, because many hands must have touched it, or maybe not. I'm talking rubbish now.
This is a photograph. It's a photograph of me on the beach with my mum and dad. was born in 1961, so I guess, 1963. I love this photograph. My mum's not here anymore, and I'm leaving my dad behind because I'm going to Australia to live for 3 years in 2 days' time. And this is the only object I'm taking with me. This photograph of happiness, of love.
Teaspoon number 1. It's very beautiful. It has a lovely, elegant windmill at the top, and it has some words on it there about the Arnhem Museum, the outdoor museum, where I visited in 1978 when I first got married and was there on my honeymoon. The spoon is beautiful. My daughter bought it for me because I'd mentioned to her that I really missed the family teaspoon that we used to have in the sugar bowl. Reminded me of my father.
Battered old ballet shoes, and you can see where I embroidered them myself with chain stitch, because that's what you did, and with the ribbons as well, and you had to embroider your own ribbons. And I've kept them all these years because they remind me of the fact that I was a graceful ballerina once, and I think if I wore them now it would probably be more like a French and Saunders sketch.
So this is a fragment of a bomb from the Second World War that was found in my grandmother's garden in Boston, Lincolnshire, after a raid on the docks. She lived actually about a mile away, so it probably flew through the air. And it's formed from the pressure of the explosion, so the shape you see here has really been made by the bomb. It reminds me too of my dear and close friends in Germany, who I like very much, and just sort of shows the absurdity of people dropping bombs on each other.
I've got this beloved baking pan. I've had it for about 30 years. It's covered with, it's got a burnt on surface. That's burnt on stuff, that's not Teflon, but it becomes non-stick. But it also changes, so we've got the bare metal there where it's come away, and it will change over time. And this item is special to me. It reminds me of friends who owned it before me, and it travelled to Greenham Common back when there was a women's protest camp there, and was beaten to make lots of noise at one particular protest. And it bears the dents from that event, so it reminds me of their heroism.
My object is a vice that was used by my grandfather. It's made of metal. I'll just show you. It's now pretty cobwebby and covered in spiders and so on. But I remember him using it and standing here at this bench. And he'd obviously use it to fix in pieces of wood or metal and file them down, and then he'd use them on the farm.
Okay, this is my mum's first shoe. She was born in 1930, so it's approaching 85 years old. She was born just on the outskirts of Liverpool, and she was an only child. I've got the little shoe because it always lived in our button tin, and I've got the button tin. I don't really know why, but I have, and it doesn't still live in the button tin, but it did till recently. I've now got it in a suitcase with a few other things that are important to me.
This is my mum's brooch, and although that's all you can see in my hand, what I can see is Mum getting ready for church on a Sunday morning and pinning this brooch onto her coat, and I can see a silk headscarf and a tiny bottle of Evening in Paris perfume, full Nana cashews and a rosary bead. It brings back a lot of happy memories. I would never get rid of it. This is going to go to my grandchildren when I pass away. And I look at it every morning on my dressing table, and I think about Mum, and it makes me very, very happy.
So this is my object that I absolutely love and cherish, and it's my name written out in, or rather sewed into, a piece of material made out of fabrics from the shop called Liberty. And the story behind it was that my mum was offered a general manager's position in the early 80s as part of Liberty, the shop, and decided to not choose that and to instead have me and have a life of costume making and theatre and all sorts of madness, and didn't have the sensible job at all, and called me Liberty because she was leaving behind an old set of liberties and embarking on a new life with a new liberty. And I actually have a picture of me with it there as well when I was a baby. But I love it because it still smells of the houses I grew up in, and the idea that my mum has hand stitched each little bit of material on is quite moving for me, and I'm very, very glad it never got lost or thrown away.
This is my portfolio. My parents gave it to me for my 18th birthday. I'm 53 now. It's massive. It's A1. It's as big as me. I can hardly carry it. I've just got it out from under the bed. It's got loads of artwork in it that I made 25 years ago. I love it because it holds all those memories, and I'm never going to chuck it away. Look, this is where I spray painted it.
This is a silver brooch made in Mexico. That's what the back looks like. It was given to me by my Uncle Ton, who lives in America with my Aunt Vaughan and all of their family. Now, our family is scattered across the globe, many of us in Holland, in England and in the States. So I like to wear this brooch to family gatherings where I'm representing the members of the family who aren't able to be there.
The object that I want to put into the collection of objects is a very clever magnifying glass, and the person I've given this to is Dennis, who is one of Stroud's famous men, letterpress printer. This object was my father's, and he died 4 years ago, and towards the end of his life he was blind because he had glaucoma. And the reason this object's come into my possession now is because my mother, who's still very much alive, had a fire in her home last November, and I've been sorting out the insurance policy, which means everything that's smoke damaged. And in amongst all the possessions that I found of both my parents was this magnifying glass. And I thought, now, who is the best person to give this to? And I thought of Dennis. And he was delighted because he can use it for small print. And that's what you said, Dennis, wasn't it?
It's very useful indeed. My eyesight's not good, so this enables me to work with very small type. I feel very fortunate. Thank you.
So the object I'd like to put forward for this project is my grandfather's wind-up clock. It was quite a small clock that he used to keep on his mantelpiece, and he'd occasionally allow us to wind this thing up. And when he died, I was given this clock. I didn't know what to do with it. It's literally been in my studio for 20 years. And again, I was thinking, it's an interesting object that's very important to me, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I decided to try and encase it in glass and sort of embalm it. And this is actually what happened. All the metal, it melted, and we're left with this sort of distorted clock encased in glass. And it's almost like my kind of memory. It's all distorted and warped objects of importance seem to follow us around.
This little cut brings back memories of my early childhood. My gran used to take my sister and I on trips up to see Auntie Coghlan in Selsley. She wasn't a real aunt. She used to work for a lady at the big house who used to give her trinkets. She asked us to choose something, and this was so pretty at that young age that I chose this. I will keep it forever. As it started off a collection of other cups and saucers, and it reminds me so much of my gran, my mum, and my sister.
So this is my object. It's actually not mine, it's Mum's. But as you can see, it's a rather decorative container for sugar. Mum was given it in the early 60s by a friend of hers that she worked with in Heathlands Hotel in Bournemouth. And for me, it's always been there. It's something that reminds me of my childhood. We always keep Demerara sugar in it, no other type of sugar. And it always reminds me of Dutch rusks and Demerara sugar for breakfast. And I love it.
This beaded solidarity brooch was made for me by a South African friend. It's made up of hundreds of little seed beads in red and white on a big safety pin. It's an end violence against women symbol, and when I wear it, people stop me, ask me about it, and we talk.